Vodafone Smart Prime 7 feels like a phone that costs £75. When you consider that budget phones from the likes of Honor and Motorola are starting to take design and build seriously, it's disappointing to see the Smart Prime 7 is dull and unambitious. It's a plastic slab of a phone, with a clean front and a flimsy removable back. That back has a slight woven pattern that feels like it should be textured, but it's not. It lacks grip and bends easily when removed. At 5 inches, the Vodafone Smart Prime 7's display is on the small side for a modern Android phone, and for the price it's quite impressive. It's a 720p LCD panel, and I would say that 5 inches is just about the limit with a display of this resolution. Pixels are visible if you get in close, colors are a tad muted, and it just feels a bit washed out. Moving to the camera department, the first thing to note is that video from the Smart Prime 7 is only 720p, which is a disappointment. On the one hand, I guess most people won't need higher resolution video, but on the other 1080p is pretty much the entry level now, with 4K being a nice option on high-end phones. There are no frame rate options either. It's locked to something, I assume 30 FPS, but this isn't made clear. Ultimately, on a budget phone some sacrifices need to be made, and video is probably one area most people won't be that bothered about. Also, an option when you set up the phone is user tip, helpful if you've never used Android before, but if you have, then we'd recommend opting out as they are quite intrusive and persistent. If you are a beginner and things are too complex, there's the option for a simple home screen which give you larger icons and a panel for contact, so there's less reliance on apps. Swipe right from the main home screen and you will load the beginner tips screen. However, in the display settings you can choose a favorite app to launch with this gesture, including Google Now if you want to mimic a Google Nexus device. You just can't swipe back to the home screen since it's launched the app fully. The most impressive thing about the Vodafone Smart Prime 7 is that it doesn't look like a cheap handset. It's well built, it has some reasonable features that will give it value for almost any user, and it runs surprisingly smoothly. The battery life is worth a shout out too, because it's really decent. You'll get 24 hours out of this handset, even with moderate use. And that's a great thing for a handset that's likely to see a lot of use as a telephone, rather than as a mobile gaming platform or video blogging powerhouse.